Welcome to Valheim, before the first boss. We're going to start out here by creating a new character and jumping into a brand new world. Once we've gotten in, we're just going to want to run over to this little marker here, register the boss, and then once we're done with that and wondering why on earth there's part of the map that's already been discovered, we're just going to go and pick up some wood and some stones off the ground so we can build ourselves a wooden axe. Now that we've gotten ourselves enough wood and stone, we can make ourselves a stone axe. With that stone axe, we can finally cut down some trees here. Now, all we're trying to do is get enough wood for a crafting bench and some other resources here. So once we cut down the tree and gotten ourselves enough wood, we can make ourselves a hammer and a crafting bench. Once we find a spot to place down our crafting bench, we can open up the hammer, put down the, I guess it's a workbench, and put down our workbench. And as you'll see, if you try to use the workbench now, it'll say it needs a roof. So you might think that, oh, all it's got to do is place a roof on top of it. Well, unfortunately, it will give us yet another station is too exposed. So all that means is we just need to cover up a couple of the sides, put a couple walls on either side, and then we need to add roofs to either of those walls. And now we should have a functional workbench. There we are. So as you can see, there's not much here. The way that workbench works in crafting in general is that recipes appear when you have a high enough level workbench and that you've actually discovered the resources. So now what we're going to want to do is attempt to hunt some deer or some boar. Really we want to hunt some boar here, because that way we can get ourselves leather scraps, and in turn we'll get the crafting recipe for the crude bow. I'm just gonna grab some food here, which will be useful for later. And our next goal is to craft a crude bow, which as we can see is gonna cost 8 scrap and 10 wood. So now we just need to go and find some boars and get some leather scrap. Once you've obtained enough scrap and whatever other resources you need, you can head over to the boss spawner, set up another workbench. That way you can have something a little bit closer to where you're going to be with all of your stuff. Now a nice bonus to get is the rested bonus, which will increase your stamina regen by quite a lot. And so to get this bonus, all you're going to want to do is get some shelter down as well as a fire. Once you have a campfire and some shelter, you will be able to get the rested bonus quite quickly by just standing next to it. So once you've gotten the gaps covered up, and a campfire down, it should say, yes, resting with comfort level 3. So all we have to do now is wait to get the rested bonus, which should occur quite quickly. And there we are. Now that rested bonus will give us much better stamina regeneration, which will allow us to chop down some trees and get the requisite wood we need to get this bow. Once we've obtained enough wood, we can quickly run back and make ourselves a crude bow. Of course, quickly realizing we don't actually have enough for any wood arrows is a bit annoying. But once we've gone through, gotten ourselves a bit more wood, we can craft ourselves up some wooden arrows. Now, the wooden arrows are great for hunting deer and for hunting boars and whatever else, really. They essentially one-shot almost any enemy at this point in the game. Of course, it's not what we're going to use for the boss, but it is great for now. So So essentially we're just going to want to go out and look for some deer and look for some boar as well if we want. So now that we have our bow and our arrows, we can quickly go and hunt ourselves some deer for both the hides they drop and they also drop trophies. Once we get 2 deer trophies, we can actually summon the boss. And of course, we can also take out some bows with boars while we're here to grab some scrap. Once we grab enough of whatever we're looking for, we should be good to go. And we're probably going to want to go grab some flint down by the beach, which will let us craft up some upgrades for the workbench. Various. So, as you can see here, it does cost 10 flint and 15 flint, as well as some other stuff for the next 2 workbench improvements, which will let us get upgrades for our gear and just get better gear overall. So to find flint, all we have to do is walk along the beach and pick it up off the ground. At this point I have made a flint knife, which is just flint and wood and some scrap, which is extremely easy to kill all sorts of low level enemies with. Getting some necktails would be great for the extra stamina, because we can have 3 different food types at once, and cooked meat, necktails, and raspberries are 3 different foods we can get at this point. So we're just going to run along the beach until we have enough flint to craft our upgrade. Now, once we have obtained enough flint for our upgrade, we can come back to the workbench, repair our gear, and even upgrade our crude bow. But of course, we're going to need the upgrade first. So the chopping block only costs 10 wood and 10 flint, which you can just stick next to the workbench to get it to work. And now it should give us a bunch of new recipes and upgrades that we have. So, as you can see, fire arrows require some resin and some wood and feathers. Now, resin drops from greylings, which will randomly spawn around and you can attack them. And outside of that, we're just about ready to fight the boss. So at this point, we're just going to get a bit more wood and then a bit more resin obtained from these greylings here. And once we have that, we will have everything we need to fight the boss. So, now that we have the wood and the resin, we can head over to our crafting bench, pick up some food off of our campfire. We should be just about good to cook. If you want to pick what you're putting onto something, you can put it in your hotbar and then press that button while hovering over to use it. But before then, we can upgrade our crude bow, and most importantly, we can craft ourselves some fire arrows. Just a single set of fire arrows will be enough to beat this boss. Of course, having 3 types of food is also useful, so putting on the necktails will let us cook up 3 types of food for this boss fight. On top of that, I'm making a bit of flint arrows just in case, but as you will see, you don't actually need them. The 20 fire arrows are more than enough to fight this boss. So to select the arrow in your inventory, it's just to right click which arrow type you want to use, and of course cooking up the rest of the food is a good idea. As you can see, I've already obtained enough deer heads. It's only 2 to fight the boss. So that's all you need and more for before the first boss in Valheim. Stay tuned for when I show you how to cheese through pretty much every boss in this game. Until next time.